And welcome again to the Man on the Street program. I'm James Mack, your wonderful host. I'd like to say hello to all of you that made our very first show a wonderful success. I heard from many of you from around the country, and it really warmed my heart to speak to so many of you. I haven't talked to some of you in some time since the last time that I was on the air in some kind of capacity, but it's just good to know that I still have friends and admirers and people that are well wishers that sent your well wishes to me. I am here and we're going to continue our series with uh, we're going to continue our series, our
James, I'm back.
Trump series,
She said one
along
minute.
with
She said
along
one.
with 1 minute. Okay. So should I end the stream?
Yeah, and you've got to turn your radio down. End the. It's okay. Don't end the stream. Keep it going, and we'll just wait. We'll just wait.
Okay. Waiting for her countdown.
Yes,
Okay. Okay. Will that go on the air? We might need to edit it.
she's calling me now.
It's
Hi, can
radio.
you hear me? No, James, I'm on the line with Raven, so we're just waiting for her countdown. You started the live too soon, but it's okay.
Okay. Should I end the stream or keep it going
No, keep
from
it on
now?
because it's not. We're not on air yet. We're not on air, so it's okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're on YouTube though. Hey,
Okay.
YouTube.
She's counting down. Three. Okay. 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 Four, three, two, one.
You're on. And welcome back to the Man on the Street program. I'm James, your wonderful host. And I'd like to take this opportunity to say thank you to all of our wonderful listeners and supporters of this great opportunity that was laid to me and given to me this journey along life's road. It has been an exciting 24 hours. There have been a lot of things going on. We've been cheering. And I'd like to also bring in our guests, our very special guest that served with us on yesterday, Wisdom's daughter. Hey, Wisdom.
Hi, James. How are you? Good afternoon.
Doing wonderful. Doing wonderful. I'd like
Thank
to
you so
also
much for having me back.
thank you for returning back to us. It's been a interesting, as I've been telling everybody, it's been an interesting 24 hours. And I'd just like to say hello to some very special people, especially Bernadette Bedford in New York, Miss Cam Thomas is in Chicago, Tess McKenzie, and my mother Ida. Hey, Ma, how you doing? This your son, and had to give a shout out to your mom. And we were just really we're really appreciative of all of the support that we have been receiving thus far. And also, as we go along and improve things, we want you to stay with us for the ride. And I'm pretty sure that you're going to be real excited about it. What was Donald Trump convicted of? Yesterday, we were talking about the conviction. He got convicted on all 34 of those counts. But what really is inside of the indictment? What was um, the crime that was so egregious that the Manhattan DA had to bring him in on these charges. And we're going to be discussing just that today as we look at and observe and see that this has never happened in the history and over the 200 some odd years of our history. I know we're a little bit older than that as a country, but we have never, ever, ever, ever seen anything like this. The crime or the high crimes and misdemeanors of a uh, sitting or former president of the United States. Um, Stemming from these convictions was the $130,000 hush money payment that his attorney and fixer, Mr. Michael Cohen, made to the adult film star Stormy Daniels days before the election. And I could imagine what would have happened in that election. We might have had our first woman president, Hillary Clinton, and if all of this wouldn't have came out. But he had a lot of baggage coming in. The tape that was leaked about the things that he called women, and just his overall arrogance that he had. He said he was rich, but yet he is still collecting money for his legal defense fund. And he's saying that he's a political prisoner. But what was it? We can all have our opinions uh, uh, about him, and we can all say what we feel and think about what uh, our feelings are about it. But what are the facts? What are the overlying facts? And why did they go through such lengths to do this and present this historic trial, Wisdom? I've really been pondering about it.
Absolutely. I mean, we had a great discussion yesterday. We kind of talked about a little bit of everything and definitely gave some opinions. And our caller, Bernadette, was quite opinionated in her thoughts of Trump and clearly calling him
And as
what
we
he
went
is.
back and forth,
Absolutely. Clearly calling Trump
and
exactly.
he's a menace, what he
Absolutely.
is.
Absolutely. And so, I was
Yes. And,
curious, as we
it's,
talked about
and-
as we talked about Trump, I was really curious to kind of do a deep dive into exactly what the man was convicted of. I mean, of course, we talked about the fact that his conviction stems around the $130,000 hush money payment that his attorney, Michael Cohen, made to the adult film star Stormy Daniels. But, what specifically within, that charge was he convicted of? And surrounds it, the 34 counts is having to do with falsification of business records. And so, we had a great discussion yesterday talking about, his history, his past, his business practices. And so I was really interested in kind of doing or getting into deeper as into what exactly was it that he was convicted of. Remember, we talked about the jury and how hard it would have been for them to convict him. But if we're talking about business practices and
yes,
falsifying documents, that's what I wanted to get into today, because I was very curious to see exactly what was it. 34 felony counts. One felony count for a president
34.
is a lot, but 34? Wow, that's a lot.
Yes, yes. And some people are saying, well, they should have been misdemeanors and they should have done this and they should have done that. New York law is plain to see. It may not be a felony in certain places, but it is a felony in the world's business center. We got to understand that New York City is the hub for all businesses and financial companies that deal and do business here in the United States. And looking at the record, it wasn't just a $130,000 refund that was given back to Mr. Cohen, but the total payment back to him in the form of checks. And they have all of the checks, the documents, and the invoices that they tried to disguise as legal fees. He did do some legal work for uh, Donald Trump by intimidating people and going back and forth and harassing people that Donald Trump wanted him to do. So he was the attack dog for Donald Trump. And the repayment was not only to repay him the $130,000, they doubled the payment back to him, including $50,000 more. And aside from that, he got an extra $60,000 on top of that. That was the stuff that he said he took for himself, a little extra fee that he took for himself, and the total came out to be $420,000. The taxes were paid on that. He had to pay taxes on that, so they covered his tax payment, and they also he also covered for himself another $60,000. And these counts, the 34 counts, it was just 34 counts, were the 35 times that Mr. Trump sent him a repayment check of $35,000 at a time. Even when he got into office, he signed a check to give Mr. Cohen back his money. So the cover up was there. It wasn't per se, as I would think, the payments to keep the lady quiet or what have you, or he was thinking about his family. I say he was thinking about the election. What do you say about that?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, he was certainly concerned about the election. I mean, just think about it. This was actually done the night before the election. And so, it would appear that Trump was quite desperate to do anything he absolutely could to prevent this information from coming out. And I'm reading here that the 34 charges against him corresponded to a check, an invoice, and voucher that was basically all designed to reimburse Cohen. I know we can't show it, but there's actually a screenshot here of various different wire transfers. There's a credit
Yes.
special something on October for 131,000, and then you see another 130,000. You see a wire transfer fee for 35,000. I mean, it's so interesting when you look at
It is.
the records, and the math doesn't lie. And so,
No.
I know that Trump is seeking to appeal and to try to overturn this decision. And, we'll probably do a deep dive into his appeal later on in the week. But the numbers don't lie. And this wasn't something that he was going to easily get out of. So just to kind of go over in detail. So on February 14th of 2017, between January and February, there was an invoice for $70,000. That was count one. Count two, there was a voucher in the amount of $35,000. Okay, that was count two. Then there was another voucher, this is in February, in the amount of $35,000. That was count three. There was a check written in the amount of $70,000. That was count four. And it just goes on and on. On March 16th of 2017, there is a $35,000 invoice, and that was count number five. On the same day, there was a voucher that was count six. They don't have an amount on there. 35,000, another $35,000 check. That was the count seven. And so it just continues on. And so counts 4, 7, 10, 13, 16, 19, 22, 25, 28, 31, and 34 all have to do with $35,000 checks written between January and December of 2017, with the exception of the first $70,000 check. Then there are a number of invoices, and that's counts 2 to 3, 6 and 9, 12 and 15, 18, 21, 24, 27, 30, and 33. These are various invoices from Donald Trump's personal account. Let me just be clear. The checks that were written between April and December of 2017 were from Donald Trump's personal account. And then he's got Donald J. Trump's revocable trust, which is where the 70 and the 35,000 came from. And then the same thing. And then there are a number of invoices, again, from January all the way to December in the amount of $35,000, which makes up the 11 counts. So he's got 11 invoices. Yes. That was 11 counts. 12 vouchers. Right. That was another 12 counts, and 11 checks, which makes up the other 11 counts. So it's really difficult to say that I wasn't given a fair trial or that I want to appeal. The records are there. An interesting thing about Donald Trump is that he is kind of notorious for not wanting to share his records. So the fact that he's trying to appeal is going to be really interesting to see where that's going to lead, if anywhere.
But the most interesting part of it is that the bookkeeper, Mr. Weisselberg, kept a record, and in his own handwriting, he made notations about these figures, and the facts do not lie. A lot. I see that there's a question that someone has, and or maybe a statement that's saying, well, how does uh, paying a guy or paying a person uh, hush money is a crime? The crime is business falsification. Paying hush money or using monies that were designed or per se to affect an election. Number one, keep her quiet. We don't want her saying anything. You know, hush your money. She's a side chick. So his friend at the National Enquirer and his lawyer, Mr. Cohen, they said, well, we got to keep this out of the way, even though they had the Access Hollywood video, and he's saying he's grabbing certain parts of people and all that. That didn't really bother him per se as not being able to control the narrative and the story. If Manuel would have put it out, oh, I was with Donald Trump. Now, they would have bought her story and so forth. And the hush part of it is they called it catch and kill. We catch the story, meaning put her under a non-disclosure agreement and keep her quiet and pay her off so she won't say anything. And we can keep this as long as possible. And his friend at the National Enquirer made this was his aim and his goal. Look, I'm on your side, Mr. Trump. Anything comes out bad about you, we're gonna catch that story first, and we'll put out bad things about your opponents. So it wasn't per se that he gave money to a woman. I'm pretty sure that that wasn't his first time. It was that he was trying to keep this particular person quiet until the election was over. Now, I don't know what kind of impact it would have had on the election if that story would have gotten out, or any other story. We would not know right now, but he got that office. But because he did that, and Mr. Cohen did these things on behalf of him to keep that quiet during the campaign to federal election crimes, using those funds to subvert an election or to try to cause it some kind of discord in the election. So even if it was covered up, even just let's say, for instance, Wisdom, he covered it up. Okay.
Yeah. So
Is
James,
that bad? Okay.
I'm just gonna jump in. I'm gonna jump in for 1 second.
Yeah, because
I'm gonna jump in for 1 second.
Yeah. Go ahead.
So we have a question. So they're asking about the other crime, right? How can he appeal if we don't know the other crime? And how is, hush money and covering it up? And so the thing is, and the prosecutor said it during the hearing, Trump knew that these payments were to reimburse Cohen for Stormy Daniels' payment. And so Stormy Daniels was paid, and that occurred by Michael Cohen the night before the election. What we see here is Donald Trump paying Michael Cohen back, because Michael Cohen put out his own money to pay Stormy Daniels off. Now, the challenge, exactly. Now, the challenge is the fact that under New York law, falsification of business records is a crime when the records are altered with an intent to defraud. And so that was why he was charged with the felony.
That was the
right. And see, the prosecutors had to show that he intended to commit another crime or aid or conceal another crime when falsifying records. So this is the challenge. This is why he was convicted, is because Donald Trump falsified records to cover up or to conceal the hush money given to Stormy Daniels so that she would not speak prior to the election. Now, the other crime, because you mentioned the other crime. So it was a violation of a New York election law which is illegal. It makes it illegal for any two or more persons to conspire to promote or prevent the election, or any person to a public office by unlawful means. So basically what they're saying is that he violated New York State election law by trying to shush Stormy Daniels up from speaking on something that could have impacted the election. So that's where we have those issues. And so when you talk about the other crime, that's the other crime. And what they're saying is that Trump knew exactly what he was doing. It's not like he wrote all these checks to Michael Cohen, not discerning that the checks were going to pay him back. He
or
knew
for legal services.
Exactly. He knew what he was paying Michael Cohen back for. He was paying Michael Cohen back because Michael Cohen fronted the money to pay off Stormy Daniels so that she wouldn't talk, so that it wouldn't sway the election.
His money back. And he wanted his money back. He put a mortgage on his house and everything.
Yeah, did Trump know he was being defrauded by Cohen? He may not have known about the money that Cohen allegedly stole, but he knew what he was paying Michael Cohen for. He understood that he was writing out these checks.
And he considered it as a price for doing business.
Right. They weren't
what he was doing, because he really didn't. He wouldn't have gained anything.
Michael Cohen is his attorney. And so they're talking about everything. Regardless of whether he knew or not that Michael Cohen was stealing from him is irrelevant. That's completely irrelevant to the issue. The issue at hand is that Donald Trump directed his attorney to pay off Stormy Daniels, and they had to get that money to her, and he got it to her in the nick of time, right? Right before the election. Had Stormy Daniels talked and told that she was having an affair with Donald Trump, on top of the fact that there was already the Hollywood videos that had come out about, you know, his infidelity and all these other things and things that he did to women, and the video with him saying he can get away with essaying women or touching women inappropriately because of who he is. Had that got out, he likely would not have been president, and that's what he was concerned about.
Well, he would have lost the suburban. He would have lost the suburban woman's vote, because, as they say, I think he would have. All women should have just turned their back on him, but because to me, he's for those various reasons. But we would not have known what impact it would have really truly had. Would Mrs. Clinton had an opportunity to win? Or would the election would have been swayed another way? He had to keep her quiet, knowing the profession that lady was in. Now, she's a sex worker, as they say. Excuse me. That's what she is. She's a woman of that profession. And she starred in these movies and everything. And that would not have looked great on his resume as being the president deals with these kind of people and so forth. So the image of wrongdoing was there. So we have to stop this. And they just did it in a way of trying to disguise it as legal fees.
You know, the other thing, and just to our to Patrick's point, is the fact that Michael Cohen lied. Okay. And that was one of the things that was a part of the defense. They tried to discredit Michael Cohen, trying to portray him as a liar to discredit his testimony, because remember, Cohen was the only witness who testified that Trump knew about the true purpose of the reimbursements. Without that, Trump could basically say, well, I was giving him money as a retainer. I was giving him money to handle, legal things. I didn't know where the money was going to. And the fact that Cohen, who testified, the fact that Trump knew about the purpose of the reimbursements, it wasn't that difficult. And so the jurors ultimately rejected the defense's arguments and sided with the prosecution in finding Trump guilty. They didn't believe that his lawyer lied, because why would Michael Cohen give Stormy Daniels, what amount did he give her? Why would he give her that $130,000 payment? Right? Yeah. Why would he give her that? For what purpose? Right? Why would he just go behind Donald Trump's back and give her, that money? And did he really think that, even if because see, here's the thing. The issue is that Trump is trying to say he did not know that he was reimbursing Cohen for the hush money. So as Patrick said, the fact that he gave her some money is not the issue. The issue is that it was right before an election, right? The issue is that she had some information that could have swayed the election, certainly, because I'm sure voters would have liked to have known that. And Trump is trying to say, I did not know that that's what I was given the money for. Well, how could you not know? Because what motive would Michael Cohen have to write this woman $130,000 check and then just not tell you about it? He wasn't giving up his money for free. As you said, the man took a second mortgage out on his house. And why did he have to pay Stormy Daniels with his own money? Why didn't Donald Trump write the check? You know why? Because they would have known that he wrote a hush money check right before the election. So here's how the conversation went in my head. Here, you put out this money, okay, and I'll pay you back. Don't worry, you'll get your money. I'll pay you back. I'll do it incrementally so nobody will know. Okay, I can't do a Donald Trump voice, but so nobody would know.
Okay, well, you did a good job at it.
And so again, trying to get away, because if you remember, most presidents are supposed to turn over all their tax information, all their documents. Nothing is supposed to be concealed. He didn't do that. And he did not do that because he had something to hide.
Yeah,
and I'm pretty sure the jury had that in mind.
Yeah, he had more than that to hide. And and as we're delving in, we'd like to again just remind you, hey, this is WKRA 92.7 on your FM dial, and this is the Man on the Street program, and we're just glad to be able to come to you once again and just delve into the shenanigans, as some people would say, of these 34 counts, and to give you a good overview of what we're doing. And Wisdom, as you were saying, I mean, if you look at the intent behind this, going back to our one of our questions that were asked, well, where was the crime? The crime was the cover-up. They said that Donald Trump does not sign any check, all checks, all payments, when it comes down to money, especially that, comes to him. He knows what's going on in his company. He's not a micromanager. Like, I guess he micromanages. Is that micromanaging? So Mr. Weisselberg,
Donald Trump knows everything going on. He knows everything going on.
You think he did?
I believe he did. Michael Cohen, once Donald Trump became president, became his personal attorney once Trump took office, right? And he wanted
another position too. He wanted to be attorney general or something.
Something, right? But how could you not know, right? How do you not know where your money is going to and what it's for? And I just don't think, and you had asked the question yesterday, how difficult would it have been for the jury to make this decision? And I believe, hearing all the evidence, it may not have been that difficult, because it's very plain, it's very black and white. You have an adult adult entertainer who has some dirt on you. So instead of you putting out your money, because that wouldn't look good right before an election, you're going to have someone else do it. And then you're going to pay them back and then claim that you didn't know what you were paying them back for. It just sounds absolutely ridiculous, like many of the things that comes out of Donald Trump's mouth.
But then he says that he didn't know. And to answer Patrick's question, let's give Mr. Cohen his just due. Yes, he did lie. He lied to Congress. He lied under oath, and he went to jail for it. He served for it.
He did.
Yes, he tried to the bitter end until his buddy Donald turned his back on him, didn't give him a pardon, or he pardoned his other buddies, but he left Cohen out to dry, which created hostility. And I'd have been mad. Man, you mean tell me I covered for you? And on a personal tip, I covered for you and you leave me behind. Yet people are saying, well, he lied. Trump lies every day. He lies every day. He lies. He's conniving. Nobody's saying anything. Mr. Cohen, he lied and he stole. Donald Trump has been ripping off the state of New York and all. If we go back into history and see the diabolical things that he did and the lying that he did. Let's not talk about the Central Park Five. Let's not talk about the Atlantic City yet, or talk about the shady deals that he made to build Trump Tower. I'm surprised it's still standing as cheap as it was built. And I'm not talking about the people that built it. He walked out on the payments for constructions and all kinds of deals just to do what he does. His ego what is really what got him in trouble. He's one of the most arrogant people that I've ever encountered, whether it's in politics or anything else.
Hands down. Hands down he is.
Oh yeah, he might have lied. Yeah, he might have got him a little extra fee on the end, but Donald Trump been swindling and stealing from everybody. Nobody says anything. Why me as a journalist, the things that I can't usually say, but as a commentator, I could say this: why are people's heads in the sand? Like, this person does no wrong. 34, it has never been done. 34 felony counts. That's, I mean, if it were you or I and you were running for office for the presidency, Wisdom, and they come up and say, well, Wisdom committed she's a felon, they wouldn't probably even put you on the ballot. Yet and still and all, this man, I want to see what's going to happen when they go to Milwaukee. How will you stand there and say this man does no wrong? This man is, even though he was in the highest seat in the land, he still did these shady things. Look at the hotel deal that he did. You know that hotel across the street, the old post office building, Wisdom, across the street from the White House. You remember he bought that place over there and had all those foreign dignitaries and people that work there. You know, so we got the lineup. Okay, yeah, Cohen, he lied and he paid for his lie.
Yeah, I just want to address what Patrick is saying. He says in New York, falsification of records is typically a misdemeanor, which statute of limitations would have been 5 years ago. So here's the thing. In order for the prosecution to charge him with a felony in regards to falsification of business records, they also had to show that he intended to commit another crime, or that he aided or concealed another crime when falsifying the records. So I guess you can call that a little bit of a loophole where they were able to leverage that because they were able to prove. Because at the end of the day, you know, our justice system is not perfect. It's not always about the truth. It's about what you can prove. Right. Unfortunately,
yes.
I can say, hey, listen, I didn't unalive this person. But if I can't prove it, I'm going to jail. I'm going to prison. And so they were able to
But then still on to piggyback what you said, to piggyback off of what you said, he had a jury picked by the prosecution and his defense. They gave him an opportunity to bring anybody he wanted to bring, character witnesses. He could have brought his wife, his sons, his daughter. Somebody could have testified on his behalf, yet none of them, no witnesses for him other than the one person that they had. The judge had to excuse the jury and admonish this person. Listen here, we still have we're not living in a communist country, although most people would probably like us to, but or they might feel that it's good. We don't know that the freedoms that we have here in the United States of America, we better hold on to them. And if the system turns over and starts to persecute people, like we're going to get into later this week about what a second term is going to look like. This man has revenge on his mind. I think he's going to come after people just simply because they don't agree with him. That's not how the justice system works. The justice system works this way. You are judged by a jury of your peers. And if that jury of your peers, those who have been picked or whatever, come to the conclusion by the preponderance of the evidence that you committed this crime, well, that's our system of justice. That's what I figure.
Yeah, I can't argue with that. Definitely can't argue with that.
Well, we can
So
beat Michael Cohen up all day. Well, what about Stormy Daniels? Well, what about Mr. Weisselberg? What about all these people that testify that this man had knowledge of the foolishness that he was doing? Now, if they'd have kept quiet, I guess they would be uh, outstanding citizens. You can't lie under oath, and if you lie to the FBI, they're gonna that's a prosecute. You can be prosecuted for lying to a federal agent. And Michael Cohen admitted that this is what he did lie. He paid his penalty, served his time, but yet and still in all, justice had to be served because this act. Yeah, you could have paid off anybody, but you can't pay them off with campaign money or pay them off to predict a outcome of an election. You can't do that. And then you falsified the record saying it's one thing and it's another. You paid this man's taxes on the money that he took his own money. It wasn't Trump's money in the first place. Trump was just paying the bill back and paid the taxes on it, gave him double. And then Michael Cohen said, wait a minute, I got to get a little bit more for doing business. So these 34 counts, I feel, and as I see, and you counted them all, you counted all the checks and everything, Wisdom. And it's amazing sitting here looking, this is the evidence. And he signed the checks with that famous signature, the signature that he wanted to sign all of the COVID checks for and all those other things. And you see that big, pretty black, what kind of marker is that they got? Is that a
Sharpie?
Sharpie. And he used ballpoint pen, but that's his business. He can use what he wants. But all this evidence is there. They couldn't get rid of it. They had to explain it. And let me say this too. And I know that we wasn't going to delve into this, but I wanted to say this. The taxes that this man paid, he is a billionaire. He paid what, $750 in taxes? He's doing business and controlling his business. He said that his kids were taking over, but Donald Trump, as his longtime accountant says, and Mr. Cohen and other people that have worked with him, Donald Trump knows everything that's going on, especially when it pertains to money.
Absolutely. As I said earlier, this was it came out, in the hearing that and according to Cohen's testimony, this was an agreement that was reached with how Cohen was going to be repaid for the $30,000 that he sent to Stormy Daniels in exchange for her silence. It's just as simple as that. Michael Cohen was to receive $130,000 for the payment, plus an additional $50,000 that was for, some company that was unrelated to work that he was doing for Trump. And that amount was doubled to account for taxes and so forth. And the challenge is that, so they agreed he would pay him back in monthly payments of $35,000 over the course of 2017, right? He got the first check covering the 2 months. Now, Cohen sent an invoice to the Trump Organization for each check, portraying that payment as his retainer, but it wasn't his retainer. Right?
That was the lie.
It wasn't a retainer. That was the crime. Yeah. It wasn't for a retainer.
He was paying that money.
Right. It was for him to get reimbursed for him paying out the money to keep Stormy Daniels silent. And every time he was paid, the bookkeeper generated a record for the company's files, that's a voucher, right? With the description, legal expense. This is the problem. When you are writing out a check, when you're writing out an invoice, that memo section, it matters what you put in that memo section, right? That's not just a section just to put stuff, just to be putting it on there. Absolutely. And this is, and ultimately, and this is the problem. Now, I don't know if it would have been any better if they would have put, repayment for or reimbursement.
But you can't do that. Now, how would you feel?
They could have put it as reimbursement, and then they wouldn't have been able to say that they lied.
Yeah, right? But think about this though. Now, you got a fella, and you all are sharing finances or whatever. You might have a joint checking account, and you see that he wrote a check to Susie Q, and this is for our night on the town. Now, I believe I would know your reaction, But you tell me, he comes to you and you open up the mail and you see this. Now, you know, heads is going to roll in your house, right? You're going to say, who is Susie Q? Okay. I'm not laughing at him, but who's Susie Q? And what is this payment for the night out? And all these other things. I don't think he was worried about his wife because he was the most eligible bachelor, or he was the guy that every woman, I don't think the women that I know that would really want, maybe because of financials or something like that. And he paying money for and flying you all around and all these things. So Stormy was getting some benefit out of it. But when they found out that she was going to talk to the whoever she was going to talk to, well, we got to keep this quiet. I mean, you can't tell about our escapades and everything. That's not the crime. The crime was the falsification of the business documents. And that's what happened. Yeah.
Exactly. It's the intent to defraud. And that intent is based upon what they put in the memo section to document what the invoice and what the checks were for. They put retainer, but that was a lie. They put legal expense, that was a lie. And so under New York law, falsification of business records is a crime when the records are altered with an intent to defraud. Well, obviously there was an intent to defraud because they didn't write what the money was truly for. And then Trump's defense is, I didn't know. His defense is, well, he's Michael Cohen is a liar anyway, so you can't trust him. I didn't know. That was Donald Trump's defense. I didn't do it because I didn't know. I'm not guilty.
But then Michael Cohen, he had a come to Jesus moment. His family say, look here, man, you know, you lying for Trump. Excuse me. You're lying for Trump. And what are you getting out of this? This man is going to take you down. And he had to really think about this. Well, what do I need to do? Now, he's lied already. They caught him in the lie. He surrendered. He admitted, yes, I lied and everything. Okay. He even admitted that he got him a little extra off the top. Okay, he did admit it. I'm not saying the man is a Boy Scout. Yeah, but I'm not saying the man is a Boy Scout. But at least he did what Donald Trump will never do. That's why they didn't put him on the stand. He will never admit that he did anything wrong. He will never admit the faults and the failures and the things that he has done. He said it was those people that stormed the Capitol. It wasn't me. I wasn't the leader, even though he wanted to go and be the great emancipator. I'm going to go up here and I'm going to stop this process. Now you're trying to stop an official government act. And he doesn't know the Constitution. I don't even believe, and this isn't personal, but by his actions, I don't even believe he really knew what the office of the president was.
Oh, that's clear.
How it operated. Yes, it's tremendous power. But along with tremendous power, you have to have the responsibility. You got a greater responsibility.
Absolutely. It is clear from the things that Donald Trump has said, the things that he's done, that he does not have a good, solid understanding of the Constitution and how the Constitution works. Remember, Donald Trump had his show, with Omarosa and the infamous "You're Fired," and he went into this presidency, in my opinion, like it was another business transaction or like it was another reality show where he felt that, and this is my own personal opinion. The way that Donald Trump conducted himself, what it showed to me is that he walked into the presidency thinking that the president can do whatever the president wants to do. And he got a reality check once he got there, that the president works for the people. Okay. And you do not have the power to just do whatever you want to do. Even there's even a process for laws. The president cannot just pass a law. This is not a dictatorship. This is not an autocracy. It's a democracy. Yes. Exactly. And that's, yeah. You know what I want to talk about really quickly? I want to talk about this sentencing because we kind of touched upon it yesterday. And one of the questions that I asked is him being found guilty. Is it really a win or is it too early to celebrate? Because is he really going to do any jail time? And for those of you who may not be aware, so under New York law, each count, he has 34 now. Each count of falsifying business records in the first degree carries a maximum sentence of 4 years in prison and a $5,000 fine. Now, even if they just gave him 1 year for each count. That's 34 years. Is Donald Trump really going to be sentenced to jail? Is he really
No.
going to be hit with fines?
Well, I think that they would run it concurrent. They will not just give him a year for every count, but for the count that they brought before the court with those charges, those 34 events of those felonies that made up that particular charge.
Mm-hmm.
He could either get, because he's a first-time offender, they're going to look at that, but
and his age.
Even though he was a first-time offender, he violated. No. If you kill somebody and you killed them, and the max is life, you don't get no life until you die, until they wheel you out to the upper room. Oh, okay, I'm
correct.
Sorry.
Yeah, absolutely. But, if you unalive somebody,
you have to look at his antics, his antics in the court. He violated the gag order. He talked about the judge's mama and everybody else that he could talk about. I'm just paraphrasing. He did all that violating, thinking that there is no king in the United States. The United States was created from a breakaway from Great Britain because the king had such a strenuous iron hand and iron fist. And this democracy was born. This democracy was born not for the rich, not for the poor. It didn't probably include people like myself, whatever. That's another story. But as a citizen of this country, I have rights.
Absolutely. Yeah. That's exactly why Trump wants to do away with the Constitution. I'm reading
that's an idiot. How does that sound? You got a over 250 year document. This is our standard of our country. And because you committed the crimes against this country, now all of a sudden you want to take away the very document that all of these so-called MAGA people, or whatever the case may be, the flag wavers, as they say, and I'm not dissing and talking about anybody. I'm just simply saying, where is your patriotism? Where is your sense of being an American? Does that mean that any one person has the right to do what they want to do and say, the heck with the law? I can't do that if I go in the car. Or if
according to Donald Trump, yes. According to Donald Trump wants to be able to do whatever he wants to do. He wants to take jobs away from people and put his own people in place. He
that's interesting.
Doesn't understand.
We got to.
He wants to make America great again. Remember that was his slogan when he was running for president. He wanted to make America great again. So what does that mean to you?
Taking us back to centuries.
That means that America was great once, okay, but then when people of color and other people that he chooses not to like started getting a little bit of power, a little bit of money. I remember the look on Donald Trump's face when he was learning about that there are Black billionaires in the world. I don't think he really understood that was a thing. But really quickly,
he's been a person that has always thought that he was his daddy, his daddy before him. All these people thought that they were entitled. They don't care about the poor people or the middle class or people that are working like you and I. They don't care. He does not care. He cares about the bottom line, how much money I can get and how can I enrich myself. And I think that people, as I was saying to our dear friend Patrick, it's good to have you here, brother. He says dictators prosecute their political opponents. We're going to learn this week that that's going to happen. Okay, if he gets another term in office, he'll be there forever, and he'll do anything he can to stay in power. He's going to do because these federal cases are ready to come up, and Georgia is getting ready to come up. This is just the first nail in the coffin. He still has to answer for what he's done. Period.
Yeah,
if it was Barack Obama or if it was Bill Clinton, if it was Nixon, send them to jail. What's so special about this person that nobody wants him to be held accountable for the things that he has done? If I got to be held accountable, I put my pants on the same way every day, and my socks and my jacket, and I button up my shirt, and and everything, just like a human being. What makes him so special? What makes him so entitled that he can do what he wants to do? And that's the thing that really bothers me about when people just sit there and just do not use their common sense. This man, whatever it is, he violated the laws of the state of New York.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And he's Donald Trump. And he's Donald Trump, and we've created this culture where he feels like he can get away with anything. Someone who would actually say on national television that I can put my hand, I can go up to a woman and grab her by, you know, her woman parts and get away with it, you know, is someone that obviously, you know, is very narcissistic, right? He thinks he can get away with anything. And James, we love you, but sorry, you're not Donald Trump. And so although you put one leg in one pant and the other, and you button up your shirt, you know, you're not going to get away with what he's going to get away with. And I have to disagree with you. I don't think this is
under the jail.
They would have. They would have, and worse, right? I don't think this is the nail in the coffin, and I'm going to tell you why. I don't think this is the nail in the coffin because
why do you think so?
Trump is vowing to appeal this verdict.
One nail, one.
Right. One, but even but listen, even that one nail that they may have attempted to put in the coffin, he's vowing to appeal the verdict, and that could mean that his sentencing is delayed. So
that's cool. He's still got the X on his back. He's still got that X on his. They could put him on Club Med with a leg monitor. As long as he got that X on, and as long as they've acknowledged that they put that X on his back, then now he should know how it feels, Wisdom, that your son, my nephews and nieces and people that are out there in the world, they cannot get these breaks. As to what makes him so entitled that he can subvert the laws of this land and get away with it. And everyday people, we can't even, if you write that check, they'll come and arrest you. Okay.
Yeah, I mean,
you know, if
the
you do,
Republicans
you can indict a ham
him.
sandwich.
The Republicans have allowed him to get away with this, him utilizing the you know, this concept that it's unprecedented. So because we don't know what the law explicitly states, I can do whatever I want. I don't think the Democratic Party, there are many Republicans that are not happy with him and not happy with the things that he's done and said. He's an embarrassment. To a true politician, he's an embarrassment. But the thing is, he's gotten away with it. And I don't think the Democrats were strong enough in their stance to stand up and say, no, we're not going to allow this. Now, after the fact, we're standing up and saying we're going to try to prosecute him to the highest extent of the law that we can for Donald Trump, right? Because Donald Trump wears a different pair. I don't know what kind of pair of pants you wear, but he wears a very different pair. His pants have superpowers, okay? The suits that he wears, like the Men in Black, they have superpowers. And those powers allow him to get away with things that other people are not allowed to get away with. So I do have a concern. But can you imagine Donald Trump on the campaign trail with an ankle monitor on? Now, if they put him on house arrest, if they put him on home confinement, do you think that Trump is going now? Let's just
play golf. He can play golf every day, and he still. Let's just say
hypothetically, but he can't campaign now. So if he's on home confinement and he has an anklet, and he is not allowed to, you know, leave. Well, they'll give him special conditions, right? They would give him special conditions. They might allow him to leave the home.
Why do you think they will give him? Why do you think he deserves special treatment?
It's not that he deserves special conditions, but whenever someone is put on house arrest or given an ankle monitor, there are conditions that go along with it. So, for example, I'm on home confinement, but what are the conditions that allow me to leave my home? So, for example, they may say you can leave your home for the purposes of education, for the purposes of going to work, because people still have to work, right? And unless I'm in a job that I can work from home. And so Trump may make the argument to say, well, I need to get on the campaign trail and I can't win this election if I can't campaign. And so although I'm on home confinement,
you still can't subvert the law. And if the law says that you're on house arrest, you can go to work. Well, he can say, well, I'm working. Well, technically, and he has enough law enforcement. What people don't understand, don't just think that those Secret Service agents are just there. They are law enforcement, and they're under the current president of the United States. And even though he's afforded these protections, and they might have to do something in Congress or something, I hope that Congress can really see. If you commit a felony and you're a criminal, you don't deserve our tax dollars protecting you, your dog, your golf course, and your airplane, and all those other things. You know something, Wisdom? I wish, time just it's flying, and it's 50 after the hour, 53 after the hour, and we're getting ready. I want to be able to let our audience know that we have some special things coming up. We're doing a lot of adjusting, and we're so grateful that you've given us this opportunity to come to you, and we'll have more information on how you can contact us, how you can advertise on our station. And once again, I'd like to say to everybody, this is a nonpartisan broadcast. My feelings, as far as I don't have any personal feelings about either party, Democrat or Republican, because they're crooks in both parties. And I'm not saying individuals.
That's a personal feeling, James. That's a personal feeling.
I'm saying that I'm looking at it in the realistic term that we all have our opinions. Everybody has them. And I'm so glad Absolutely. We do live in a place where we can express ourselves, and we can do that. And if we didn't, we would really be in trouble. They'd be after us. But I want to let you all know that you have been a wonderful guest, Wisdom, and I really thank you. And you stick with me because we got to get through this. And once again, folks, you're listening to WKRA 92.7 on your FM dial. This is your Man on the Street program, also with my sidekick and our guest host, Wisdom's daughter, who you can catch on YouTube. You can check out her YouTube channel. And I'd like to say hello to all of her subscribers and those that follow her. She has some really great content, and we're just happy. I'm just happy that you're along for the ride. I wouldn't have it any other way. We want you to stay tuned to WKRA as they continue with their broadcast day and listen to some of the finest music anywhere. And you'll get more from us on tomorrow at 1 o'clock. We're here every day, 1 p.m. to 2. And we're just not going to allow ourselves to just drift away with this. This is a real personal interest story. People need to know actually what's really going on with the office of the president, that the stain is on. And that's the problem that I have. What kind of stain is this going to leave on the presidency? And in my lifetime, I've seen a lot of firsts, but this is one that I wish that, and truly as an American, I wish that we did not have, because we look up to our leaders, our presidents and our leaders, and whether it's in federal government, whether it's in the state or the local, we look up to you. And once again, like I said, we're here every day from 1 p.m. to 2. And as we get ready to wrap up, you got the last word this time again, Ms. Wisdom. Go ahead and
Sure. Once again, thanks so much for having me on. Great conversation, great information. Looking forward
if you
to
like.
Absolutely. Great conversation, great discussion. Looking forward to the next one. And again, thank you so much for having me on.
Also, thank you. I'm glad. I hope that we said something that will perk your interest. Patrick, you come back tomorrow, bring you some friends with you. We're just going to have open dialogue. I even like to get you on to see what your real feelings are. You got a right to say what you want to say too. And if you'd like to come on, we're going to put the link in every day, and we'll give our audience an opportunity to participate. Once again, this is the Man on the Street show with James Mack and our wonderful, wonderful guest co-host. I'll put it that way. I don't know. I might have to keep you, Wisdom, but we have Wisdom's daughter. I really appreciate all that you have done. Really,
Likewise,
this is fun. Now, y'all don't be sending me hate mail, but if you do send it, you can send it to us. We get you an opportunity to express yourself. And Patrick, you come back tomorrow, brother. We listening for you. And to all of our wonderful listeners, we really do appreciate the support. And we'll probably get a chance to read some of our comments on tomorrow. But we're going to come back on tomorrow at this very same time at 1 o'clock hour, 1 p.m. hour, to give you our version and our take on what's going on around about in the streets. Once again, I'm James Mack, and
I'm Wisdom's daughter.
Wisdom, give me your name.
And I'm Wisdom's daughter.
That's right. And you got admirers out there. They want to see you sign off and everything. Thank you very much for tuning in, and we'll see you on tomorrow. Be blessed.